This came from Northern Tool. This is not a sponsored video. This generator was bought with our hard-earned money, and we looked long and hard. We wanted to buy a Honda. We thought about buying a Honda, would have loved to have bought a Honda, but the price was just cost prohibitive. Hi, this is Jerry. We bought us a generator. We've been wanting to do this for several years now. There's a number of opportunities when we go to a location and they either lose power for periods of times because we're out in the boonies, or we've talked about maybe a little boondocking here or there from time to time. Not much of that, but we may do it. Also, we get into some weird climates. Joan loves to go where it's cold. Not Jerry, but Joan is always in search of snow. And sometimes when you go to these parks, you know, up in Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia in the winter, yeah, we do that. I've even been up into Kentucky in the winter, and we've had snow and we've lost power for 2, 3 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours. We've got enough battery to get us, you know, through short periods of time. We can run the furnace. Of course, that's 12 volts and those types of things. But we also have in our new Montana, we've got a big residential refrigerator, and we only have 2 batteries. At least now we only have 2 batteries. And we do have 200 watts of solar as well. But again, you got to have sun. You're in the snow. If it's cold, you have no power, you're stuck. So we went out and bought this. This came from Northern Tool. This is not a sponsored video. This generator was bought with our hard-earned money, and we looked long and hard. We wanted to buy a Honda. We thought about buying a Honda, would have loved to have bought a Honda, but the price was just cost prohibitive. This was just a few dollars less than $1,000. It was on sale. Again, bought at our local Northern Tool. I have been looking for a long time. There's a couple things about it that we're really excited about. You'll notice here it's a 4,500 watt inverter with electric start. That is its surge capacity. It's 4,500 watt surge capacity. That is going to be well within the limits of, you know, microwaves, one air conditioner without a, you know, a start capacitor, heavy duty start capacitor, any of those types of things. 3,500 watts continuous. This will be very similar to us being hooked up to a 30 amp power connection that we'd find in a campground. They're talking about it running for 11 hours on a quarter load. So think about the air conditioner going up and down. Here's the big thing, 57 decibels. Is what the noise level is supposed to be. We'll validate that. But 57 decibels. And of course that's on a quarter load. So if you think about the air conditioner cycling off and on, then it shouldn't run up to be too noisy. I think in the mid 60s, but again, that's going to be conversational, and we'll see how that works. And we're really excited about it. It weighs roughly 100 pounds. I was able to pick it up out of the back of the pickup and bring it in here. We still are debating how we're going to store it. Back of the pickup or inside the generator compartment of our Montana. We haven't made up our mind yet. I won't bore you with taking it out of the box. Let me get it out of the box, and then we're going to get it ready for its first break-in run. I'm excited about this. 4,500 watt inverter generator, Powerhorse. Let's see. Let's look at this unit now, and I'll show you some of the likes and dislikes that I have about it. First of all, you'll notice that it's electric start. I'm going to really enjoy that. It does have a pull handle here on the right-hand side of the front of this unit. This is your throttle for your energy savings mode, where you can run it in quarter boost. You'll notice that it has 220 volt, 20 amp services here. And then you'll also have a 30 amp, and this is what we'll be running off of the RV. We do have on our Montana a 50 amp connection. So we'll be using something like this. This is a dog bone that we use for if we go somewhere that's 30 amp. And of course you can plug it in here, and then you know you have your 30 amp or your 50 amp connection that you can use here. So I don't have to buy one of those weird twist lock that you see on like the Hondas and some of the others. This just takes a standard, I call it a household standard or campground style 30 amp connection. So I'm glad about that. You can buy 2 of these units. If you don't need 4,500 watts of surge, you can take this up to 9,000. And here are your 2 parallel outlets where you can tie 2 units together. And you have here, if you need to set it up for grounding purposes and plug this into a ground rod, you can do that as well for safety reasons. Read your manual if you need to do something like that. This is a circuit breaker that will blow if you overload the unit too much or if it has a fault and causes the breaker to trip. You have that. Then we will be looking at this display once we crank it up, and it shows output, and we'll look at the different outputs. It shows if you have a fault, and then it shows you your oil pressure as well. Up on top of the unit, we have our gas fill, and then of course we've got a gas meter for the fuel gauge, so you don't have to open the top up if you want to see how much fuel you have left. So you also see that we have wheels front and back. You can lock them to keep this from wandering, and that's going to be very, very important for us. When it comes to the wheels, I don't know if I'm going to keep them on. It really depends on what I'm going to be doing with the unit. I've got 2 options. One, right side of the truck, I have the tonneau cover that I can cover it. Again, one of the things about these outlets, I can't run this in the rain because water will get inside of them, cause the breaker to trip. So you'll see on some of your generators out there, you actually have, you know, a rubber covering that plugs into those, and I can probably get something to adapt to that. Again, I don't think I want to run this in the rain. I will probably, if I choose to do that, if I can turn it sideways and put the tonneau cover in the back of the truck, I'll do that. I always have an option to put it up underneath the 5th wheel component behind the pin, and that'll keep the weather off of it if we're going to run it for any period of time in inclement weather. So I've got 2 options that I can do with that, so I'm not too worried about it. But if I take the wheels off, I am going to put it in the back of the truck because I need an extra 1.25 inches so that I can close the tonneau cover. You know, none of these things are ever perfect. Nothing just fits the way you hope it's going to fit. If I decide to keep this in the generator area where you put your, like your 5500 Onan, and I've got a ton of room in the front of the Montana to be able to put it there, then I'll leave the wheels on. So I'm still debating. I'm going to play with that a little bit. All right, next thing that we need to do, hook up the battery, put some gas in it, put some oil in it, and then run it for about 5 or 6 hours for a break-in period. And then we'll monitor it during that break-in period, and I'll give you the results of that. And I won't take you through draining the oil out of it again and then putting in the oil for us running it full time from this point forward. And during the break-in period toward the end, I will hook it up to the 5th wheel, and we'll turn on the air conditioner, see how that runs, and just kind of kick the tires a little bit, see how it's going to behave. All right, let's get some oil in this thing, some fuel in it, and see if we can't get it cranked up. First thing that we're going to do is hook up the battery. Now they provide you with a screwdriver. I like using mine. And it doesn't look like it's going to be a whole lot to this. And pull down on that bad boy, see if we can't slip him out. I don't think it's hooked up. It is not. And we'll get this fella out of here. Not a whole lot to it. Okay, we got our connections on there good and tight. Scoot our battery in. There we go. Actually has a piece of rubber here to kind of help hold it in place, and then grab that bad boy and strap him in. All right, 1 battery in, no trouble. Next we're going to put some oil in it. It's shipped without oil, and I am going to go ahead and use Honda power equipment oil. I know I said this isn't a Honda, but this stuff is formulated for generators, and it takes regular 10W30, something just very basic. I guess you could use anything, but I went ahead and bought the good oil. You know, it's a few dollars more, but that way at least I know that we're going to be in good shape. We have you'll see the filler knob here, and they also provided us with this handy funnel. So I'll finish and get some, and that's going to be perfect to get inside here and not drip it all over the place any more than I have to. Other little trick I would share with you is, you know, take you a shop rag, put right here up underneath it, and then that way it'll catch any oil that's dripping, and you don't end up with a, you know, a gooey mess down there in the bottom. It's going to get dirty enough as it is over time. All right, always read your instructions. I can't stress this enough. I was told at the store that this only required 1/4 of a quart. And in looking at the specifications before I did this, it said it takes 0.63 quarts, a little over a pint. So, and it's exactly what it took. All right, let's get this on the ground, get some fuel in it, and see how this baby's going to run, and then we'll let it run for a couple hours and then crank it up, pick it up to the new Montana. Put it on choke. First time. So I think the first thing that we'll do is just verify the voltage that's coming out of this. I've got a voltometer meter that you see here. It's showing 124 volts. We'll see just how correct that is. And it's showing 124 volts, so that looks fantastic. All right. I've got it on the eco mode right now, and I'm just talking to you in a normal voice. It's roughly, I would say, conversation level. It's hardly anything at all. Let's walk down here to the front of the, and I've actually got the muffler pointed in this direction, so I'm kind of doing worst case here. So let's go down to the Montana, to the front of it, and you can see back behind me there. There's where I've actually got it running. And you can barely hear it, just hardly running at all. So roughly that's where we would probably put it, or it'd actually be here in the front of the Montana, probably up underneath that, or in the back of the pickup truck here, away from the Montana. So after a couple hours letting it break in, I'm going to go ahead and hook it up to the Montana. And let's just see if it's going to do what it's supposed to do. We'll do an air conditioner test. Yeah, I know I'm running a coat, but we're going to do it anyway. We also have a residential refrigerator that's running full time on this. So we'll have that going on as well. So let's see how it's going to behave. All right. Got it plugged in. Let's see what kind of power we're already drawing on it. So it's drawing 1.8 amps. I got a feeling that's probably both the refrigerator and the DC converter. So that's going to be on and running. All right, I'm going to leave the camera on. We'll go inside and try a few things. I'm going to start this off in the bedroom. We have 2 air conditioners here, one in the back, one in the front. Just easier to film this one, no other reason. And I have the generator outside running right now. I have it in eco mode, so I don't have a clue if this thing is going to spin up with this on eco mode. So we're trying this for the first time, so we'll see if it's going to work. If not, I'll have to go out there and flip the button and rev it up a bit, but it's still not too noisy when I do that. Eco, I'm hoping. Okay, this has a it didn't even bump. It just kicked right off without any trouble whatsoever. Oh yeah, these are those adjustable vents. I'm still getting used to all the new things on the Montana. So you can adjust your airflow to balance your load. Yeah, we're getting cool air. We'll let it run for a few minutes. AC on. We are at 4.8 amps. Not hardly any pull whatsoever. Boy, those air conditioners are incredibly efficient. And I'm right here in front of the unit. Let me just show you what the noise level is, just standing right here. Again, my conversation is about, now my conversation, I'm a little loud, 70s to 80s. And then if I'm quiet, so if I'm quiet, it's lower than my typical voice in the way it carries. Back here at the back of the unit. And this really is a poor test. It's showing 60, but actually you're hearing the air conditioner run up on top. It keeps timing out. Sorry about that. It's picking up the air conditioner noise from up top. I've got both ACs going. I've got all the lights going. I've got this big, giant, honking residential refrigerator going. It is as bad as, you know. I've got all the lights on inside of the fifth wheel, so the DC converter is running, you know, powering up all the lights. Generator's working a little harder now. This is about as loud as I've heard it so far, and we are pulling 12.4 amps. So still, this thing is still in cruise mode. I want to be fair here. I had no reference. Again, we're still moving into the Montana. We don't have everything you know, loaded in here as of yet. So, and I'm still learning buttons and bells and whistles. I will have to look and see what these ACs running. I've got it so cold in here. I'm surprised the camera's being still. Where I've got both air conditioners running wide open. I think I got them set on something like 60 or 55 or something like that. So they're running full blast. It's cold. So I'm still working, and I'm running on the generator right now. So, and it is, listen, what you're really hearing probably more is the generator, or the air conditioner, than you are hearing the generator. So it's super quiet. Again, a little bit about the generator. It is a 4500, something like about 3600 average wattage that it's running. I'm having trouble getting everything turned on in here to be able to tax it. As I joked earlier as I was coming up the driveway, I could have probably got something smaller, but I'm actually glad that I've got a little bit more power. And who knows, you're somewhere in a campground, we lose power, I could let somebody, you know, borrow some power off of it while we're still staying comfortable and watching TVs and air conditioners running and refrigerator running, and, you know, life's hard, right? So we will continue to, you know, test this. I'll give you updates as time goes on. I have made a bit of an executive decision. I am going to put it in the back of the pickup. It just weighs too much to be able to put it in the generator bay. Just way too much. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to end up throwing my back out and getting it in and out. I'm going to somehow place it on the back right-hand side, away from my 7-point fifth wheel plug-in, and then that way if we need power I can flip up the tonneau cover, I can lower the tonneau cover if I need to keep the weather out of it while it's running. So I think that's going to be best for us in the long run, and it's out of the way and it's not going to be a problem. So we have, before we leave, boy have I got a lot to do this week. We're getting ready to head up north. Joan wants snow. I'm going to take her to some snow. Another reason for going ahead and getting the generator. We may lose power where we're going because it's flat going to be cold. Oh, Joan. I love Joan. She wants snow. I'm going to take her to it. I have another video coming up of one more thing that we're going to do that I think you're going to find exciting as well. So just a little bit of product demo. Again, this is not a sponsored video of Northern Tool or Powerhorse or any of those folks. I did my research, bought it with my own funds, and so far, so good. If something goes south, I'm going to let you know. If something continues to continue positive as we use this unit, I'll let you know that as well. We love doing these product demos. Look, for $1,000, actually under $1,000, this is so far looking to be a fantastic generator. Very pleased with it. And we love doing this. We love doing it just as much as I love RV life. See you soon.